Elemental was directed by Peter Sohn and is the latest film from Disney and Pixar, and I'm back in my set. For the last month and a half, I've been visiting my family, and so that time that room looked different. There was different stuff over there. Now I'm over here. Things look a little bit different. For the people who are new to this channel, and there are some of you, welcome to where most of the things happen, and I'm glad that you guys are over here and looking forward to talking about this movie with you guys, even though it's been almost a week since it actually came out. In this movie, we follow Ember and Wade. One is fire, one is water, as they live in a city where all the different elements that exist around us, people of those elements live, and things don't really mix together because that's the essential concept. And so when something happens that involves the elements coming together, these two get along and eventually it builds up a bit of a relationship between them, and that's about the gist of the movie. The reception to it has been very interesting. It premiered out of competition first at the Cannes Film Festival, and it got a strikingly mixed response that eventually led to a lot of "this is the death rattle for Disney and Pixar." It was a very doomsday-like thing, but having seen the movie, I'm gonna cut to the chase. I don't think this is the death rattle for Pixar. I don't think this is the triumphant, top-tier Pixar movie either. I don't think this is quite up there with some of the greats that they've made. But I also don't think this is up there with some of the worst ones that they've made. I think this is a perfectly solid enough watch. And for nothing else, I mean, the kids who I was watching it with, they were having a great time. And so I guess in that sense of the word, it kind of works out. Elemental is a very fun movie. Again, elevated by the fact that its two main leads are very likable characters eventually. The romance that develops between them is really sweet, it's very heartfelt, and it guides you throughout most of the film. And again, if this relationship doesn't work for you, then the movie sort of falls apart. In this particular case, I think it did pretty well, and I liked the two characters. I thought the voiceover work was also really, really good. I thought Leah Lewis as Ember was really good in the movie, as was Mamadou Ati, who played Wade. I think both of them did a really, really good job, and the voiceover work from them was particularly strong, and it sold some really emotionally hard-hitting moments. And yeah, there were some of those in this movie. Like I said, so much is built around the relationship that these two have, and I think that they absolutely did not skimp out on that. But also the animation is gorgeous. This is a very visually creative and very good looking movie, and it has some very fun things that it does with each element. I would have liked to have seen a little bit more from some of the other elements though, because we focus so much on fire and water because of the two main characters that we have, that when it comes to air and like earth, we get some things, but not quite as much. I think there were some really nice things that you could have explored in those departments as well. But I still liked, those few moments that you really managed to see some really wonderful things done with that. And the animation team deserves a round of applause there as well. There are some genuinely breathtaking moments to, witness over here. There's also a really great score by Thomas Newman, who once again delivers. I don't think I've ever heard a score from him that was anything short of really, really good. And so once again, that unbroken streak continues. He's continuing to do a really great job when it comes to the music that he provides for movies. The storytelling of this movie, I would say, is probably the one thing which I think could have been a little more tightly written, I would say. There are a lot of things that it hones in on, especially when it comes to some commentary it's providing on immigration, families that have come from another place and they're trying to figure out, what their lives are in a new country, in a new city in this case. I thought those were super interesting, and there's also a lot of generational stuff that they talk about, which has become a very important aspect of recent Disney releases, with even Encanto dealing with a lot of this, and to a degree Strange World, which I did not review, but I thought it was fine. I mean, I enjoyed that, to an extent. But I did like this more than that, by the way. And also the last Pixar movie, that was Lightyear. I liked it more than that as well. I will say that the film sometimes has a lot of predictable story beats when it comes to the rest of it. Like when it comes to certain developments and certain things that are happening between Ember and Wade, I could see certain plot beats coming from a mile away, and then the resolution for those plot beats also coming from a mile away. Like there's one point where it gets very intense and you think, oh, well, I'm sure it's going to be resolved in a few minutes. And it does get resolved. exactly in the way that I thought it would. And there's also those points of the movie where a dialogue will be, said and you'll think, oh, okay, this has no real significance, but then at some point that's going to factor into it, and eventually there is a kind of moment like that too where someone says something and you go, that's going to be important at some point to some degree, and it kind of uses that. And I can see that that's something that you'll care about if you talk about movies. If you're a kid, like the kids who are at my theater, you probably have a great time with it. You don't really care about what I'm saying. But I still had a pretty good time with it. I think it's still a very enjoyable watch. And while I don't think it's one of Pixar's best by any means, I think there is a lot to garner from it. I mean, if nothing else, go for the visuals. It's very good to look at, as all Disney Pixar movies are. The characters, the animation, the voice work, really, really great as well. I think there is a lot to be taken in and a lot to be enjoyed. I'm just kind of baffled right now because I again went in with the expectation that something was not quite right over here, but I feel like something's gone wrong because I need to know what cut other people saw and what I saw. And I am confused. Like, did we watch the same movie? Did I get a totally different cut just now? The only thing that happened in mine is that for the first 3 minutes, they ran it in the wrong aspect ratio. I don't know why, but they fixed it up to 1.85 later on. It was earlier at 2.39. That's it. Like, I mean, I'm just confused, is all. I'm gonna give Elemental a 7.5 out of 10. I know this movie's not doing super well right now in theaters. I think it's doing alright-ish. If you guys get a chance to go see it though, go check it out. Let me know what you guys think. I know there's a lot in theaters at the moment. There's tough competition, but I am curious to hear if you have seen the movie, what your thoughts are on it so far. Guys, thank you very much for watching. Look forward to more videos very, very soon. Thank you so much for 2,000 subscribers. Really appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. It means so much that you guys are here from whatever base you've come here from, and I hope to continue delivering the best that I can as I run this channel and going forward. I'm gonna do a bigger video because I also want to talk about some things that are to come along the way for the channel, because I think it's time to evolve a few things, and so I'm looking forward to what's to come as well, and trying to incorporate that more in the very near future. As always, if you like this, please do subscribe. Thank you once again, and I'll see you guys in the movies.